I was raised mostly on a farm, and although there was religion in our life, my earliest times I can remember would be as a Baptist. When we would go to Bible classes on a Sunday every now and again, but sort of in my late young life through for the rest until my later life, there was really nothing. I entered Catholicism and found that nice and structured, and which is something I'm pretty used to, and something I enjoyed. So that's probably how I entered my early days. I'm a serving Army officer, which is pretty unusual, I guess, but there are others around the world, I'm sure. I served a lot of time in Southeast Asia. I had seen Islam in Southeast Asia, and my observations of Islam was really only the masjid, and so I came to recognise that as a sign of Islam, and hearing the adhan, and that was probably all I knew about Islam. And I served over in that region for about 6 years or so, around about that. Later on, through my tours over there, I became more interested and wanted to know more. Not only that, I met the woman who I wanted to marry, and her family was very religious, her father in particular, a really nice guy. He's passed away now. So I spent a lot of time with him talking, and he took me into the world and really showed me a new world. And it was probably a world that crossed a gap that probably in my life was missing. And that's how I entered into Islam. And seeing and hearing some of the things that my wife's father talked about, it was just something that I needed. I had to do. I had to be part of it. And probably to me, the cement on the whole process would be not until sometime actually after I converted to Islam or reverted. It was actually here in Palmerston North. In my early days as a Muslim, most of it was spent on a posting cycle of every 2 years. I would go to another location, and Islam was in none of those locations. There were no Muslims in any of those locations. I came to Palmerston North here, and one of our first ports of call was immediately to the masjid, and I met people here, and it was also very close to Ramadan, and the friendships and the closeness of the community just absolutely confirmed these are the fundamental things about Islam that make it such a beautiful religion. It is at times quite difficult, but I'll probably give you the highest end of the scale. Last year I served in Afghanistan, and I'm one, if not the only Kiwi service person to be a Muslim. We went over there, and Ramadan approached. My military colleagues in particular know what I am, know who I am, and certainly as we prepared to go to Afghanistan, knew exactly what I was, because I helped them to prepare, through their beliefs and things like that. Ramadan came along, and I actually thought, boy, am I going to really struggle here, because I'm carrying many, many kilos of equipment, of weaponry, of ammunition, stuff like this, and thought I'd never be able to survive through Ramadan without having a few breaks during the fasting. But actually, as compared to New Zealand, not this year but previous years, the days are reasonably short. But however, at the same time that I was fasting, I would be in villages and with people who were doing exactly the same, and they knew I was doing the same. So and people knew who I was. They knew I was a Muslim, and it was actually a big draw card for a lot of people to come and see this Kiwi Muslim, and particularly during Ramadan, to know that he was also fasting. So here we were out the back of their village. We'd been taken to, I can remember one incident in particular, a village where children had been tampering with big anti-tank rounds of ammunition, and they had been trying to poke the explosives out, and they were actually burning the stuff. None of it had exploded, but they were in a lot of trouble. So we were asked to go to the village, and they knew who I was. We were asked to go a significant distance out into the middle of nowhere to find this ammunition. We found it out there, and we helped carry it and position it so that it could be exploded. And then, of course, from way out the back of nowhere, we had to walk all the way back. we get back and they do not offer me chai, the local brew, but all the rest of my patrol are offered chai. And there is just an understanding of Islam and the brotherhood, and that is such a big part of Islam to me. From, I guess, when people first become aware that I was a Muslim, and it's not through them one day finding, well, he's a Muslim now, boy, things have got to change. I explained the situation. I also explained my position within the community within Palmerston North here, and also my greater role within the Federation of the Islamic Associations of New Zealand. Actually, my employers and the New Zealand Defence Force as a whole are very, very supportive. They allow me time off, you know, when special meetings are occurring or when they know that I need to do things, because of course there is a dual role. Not only is it, you know, amongst my fellow Muslims, and we have a big community here in Palmerston North and the Greater New Zealand, but it's also within the New Zealand Defence Force. Here in Palmerston North, this community here has played quite a big role in preparing soldiers to deploy overseas, whether that be to Iraq or whether it be to Aceh following the devastating tsunamis there, or even my own team preparing to go to Afghanistan. So we provide, you know, you wouldn't call it a service, but we also help the Defence Force. So my employers, the Defence Force, whether it be Army or the higher level Defence Force, are very supportive of what I do and provide me the flexibility to do what I need to do. As far as my everyday job goes, really the prayer times are not affected. There are lots of locations that prayer can be done. So that's just like any employer, it doesn't matter wherever you are. Food is pretty easy. I'm able to ask for a specific type of food, and once again, the Defence Force is pretty good on that. You know, in relation to the whole sphere of Islam and an employer, it is actually very easy. As long as you take the time to explain and you have an organisation who supports you, there are no issues. It is very simple. Within the likes of the police and the Defence Force, the ambulance service, all those specific jobs, there are roles. And there are roles because the Islamic community in New Zealand is very large. And if we have no, you wouldn't say a foot in the door, but if you have no brothers or sisters in any of those organisations, there are times when you actually need them to assist. And the police is certainly one of them. You know, I try to encourage here within Palmerston North, our own Ummah, some of our youth to look at it, because they have some very good educational qualifications, and it would provide I guess, a bridge between an organisation and a community. And it is no difference in the Defence Force, and we can see it simply by some of the missions that I've been on. Probably all of them have been to countries that have large Islamic populations. I was in Bosnia for a very short period of time, preparing for a mission that never actually went off in the end. However, you know, once again, having a Muslim with the actual force that is in there and is able to relate as well as the Kiwis do, and that's a trait that the Kiwis are so good at, to a population. Cambodia, I spent 13 months there, and there was a population of Muslims there that was almost wiped out completely by Pol Pot and his regime, and I made myself known there, and I mean, they never heard of New Zealand, let alone that we actually had Muslims. And latterly in the Middle East, I served in Sinai, in the peninsula between Egypt and Israel, and that was a real eye-opener. Certainly come out with some different views on a lot of issues after that. And of course, Afghanistan. The Muslim brother or sister can play such a big role in providing a bridge between an organisation and a community. And Auckland, I would say, would be one. Hamilton would be one. Wellington would be one. Christchurch would be another. There is nothing wrong with any of those professions. There is a bit of a stigma. The old top hand, heavy bully, you know, or we're out shooting rifles and shooting people sort of thing. That does not happen. All of the holy books teach really the same sort of things, except for some reason we don't apply some of them. The religion of Islam, I think makes it very easy to follow the religion of Islam. The Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad teach us and give us easy ways to follow the religion of Islam. So if I could just say anything, that the religion is, to a degree structured, to a degree. It is, to me, a whole and complete religion that has everything you want. So if you want to take the time to find out about it, you will see everything that you ever wanted, providing you want to take the step to be as good as you want to be. If you want to sit back and do nothing, then you can do that. Or you can actually find out about a few of those things, and you'll see that it offers an awful lot. So to me, it offers a way of life, a complete way of life. It took me away from a lot of things that perhaps might have taken me down a path that I wouldn't want to have gone. But I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. I don't think there's any conflict. Do I go to a game of rugby? Of course I do. I love a game of rugby. But however, do I go down to the pub with them afterwards? I don't do that. Do they know why I don't do that? They know why I don't do that. The people who take the time out to learn about what we are and what we do, what our beliefs are, what we don't do, what we do, those are the people who I think that will go a long way. There is no conflict. There is absolutely no conflict. We are no different than anyone out there on the street, any Kiwi on the street, except there are some things we do differently. And the concepts of the open days that we have, Islam Awareness Weeks, all those sort of things just help build the bridge in the middle, because it's all about the fear of the unknown. If the unknown is taken away, there is no fear.